And finally, we move on with Double Dip December. Nate, mate, you should have no worries, mate. Hello YouTube, I'm Darkest101 and welcome back at last to Double Dip December. If you didn't know, it's the Christmas holidays at uni at the moment, so I'm back at home with the family, and that's why Double Dip December was a little late. I ran out of time last week, and this week it's been kind of busy, as you can imagine. But the show must go on, and last time was a bit of a shite time, I have to admit. 2 games I wasn't exactly impressed with, so let's finish off with the Uncharted series, shall we? Well, you could argue I have some more pressing reviews to get to. Forgetting the Helsing review I need to finish, let's talk about Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, the 3rd installment of the Uncharted series, and the last of the Uncharted series currently out. Trust me, when A Thief's End does come out, I'll review that, don't worry about that guys. But for now, this is the last of the Uncharted games, Uncharted 3. I remember seeing the advertisements for this game all that time ago when the game was first released, and since then I've seen clips and screenshots of good old Nate here, dangling out of a fucking plane, strolling through stranded deserts and sandstorms, and generally getting shit kicked out of him whilst getting very dusty in the process. I didn't know what to expect when I started this game, but goddamn, this game threw me for a loop. It's a good kind of loop the game threw me for, okay, just so you know. I'm not saying it's a bad loop the game threw me for. Quite the contrary, it's a fucking fantastic loop. What the fuck am I talking about for loops? What really threw me when I first put Uncharted 3 in was just how damn beautiful it was. I mean, I knew we'd been going through sandy desert shit, which wasn't something I was really looking forward to, but fuck, we went through some pretty damn awesome shit to get here. I mean, as a Brit living in London, I can say that Naughty Dog did a damn fine job of recreating England, simply because of how wet everything looks. Look at it. Fucking hell, we can't catch a break here. The locations in this game are the most beautiful and detailed of the entire series. The set pieces in this game were also much bigger, more action-packed, and so much more tense than they were in the series prior. I know Uncharted 2 had the train derailing and nearly throwing Nate off the side of a mountain, but this game just managed to up the fucking ante somehow. You know, just in case Nate hanging onto the end of a derailed train car hanging off the side of a mountain with blood slowly draining from a bullet wound in his torso wasn't tense enough for you. Somehow though, Naughty Dog managed to come up with a creative way to keep the tension fresh and new with each set piece they brought in. This does however lead me to the fact that the third person shooter sections of the game haven't really changed much since the first one, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it, am I right? It's not a painful slog to go through with this gameplay, it's just... I don't know, I suppose I'm just wishing for something new in this series, alright? The sense of humour of this game is just... it's off the fucking chain, however. I haven't laughed like this playing an Uncharted game ever. It just had a genuine sense of humour that didn't feel forced. It was just all these big personalities interacting with each other. Sully and Nate, of course, work great off of each other, but then we get Chloe throwing in her witty quips as well as a new character, Cutter. He just steals the bloody show, acting as some kind of British Nathan Drake. These are all great characters and their humour is infectious. However, despite how amazing the character interactions are, I have to address something that properly pissed me off when it happened. The Elena and Nate breakup. Fucking really, Naughty Dog? Really? This is the third time that you've started off a game with these two not as a couple. And yet, inevitably, at the end of it, they always end up as a couple. I could have given Naughty Dog a free pass if they'd only just used this once, but at this point it's just becoming a cliche of these games. They acted like they wouldn't get together at the first one, but ended up getting together at the end, broke up by the beginning of the second one, ended up getting together again, and now they've broken up for a second time. And I bet you they're going to get together at the end for the third fucking time in this series. I understand, okay? I'm not going to stick my head in the sand and say it doesn't happen, because relationships, they can break down. They have their ups and their downs. People split, they get back together again, but really? We have to sit through Nate and Elena pretend they're not going to be a couple for the third fucking time? I guess it's a good thing that the relationships of the other characters are there to offset this repetitive bullshit, but fuck. Chloe and Cutter end up dropping out of the story barely halfway through. Sully and Nate are still a laugh, I guess, but fuck if I don't get bored of Nate and Elena's romance somewhere along the line. Give Chloe some credit, at least she was a challenge for Nate. Elena just feels like a schoolgirl falling for the bad boy constantly. Despite how incredibly repetitive the Nate and Elena relationship arc is, you've got to give props to Naughty Dog because they made a fucking brilliant villain for this game. Catherine Marlowe is a fucking bitch. No way around it, she is a grade A bitch. And yet at the same time, I'm glad. The villains in the previous games just felt a little, I don't know, they had evil personas and cruel intentions, but in the first game, Roman was hardly in it, and Navarro was never given a chance to establish himself as a proper bad guy. He was just fucking there. Flynn in the second one was a smarmy prick, yes, but he also had a likeable charm to him, and Lazarevich was physically intimidating but had this sense of authority to him. This is the first game in the series where I've actually wanted to punch the villain in the face. Catherine is a fucking bitch. She's an arrogant, cold-hearted bitch, and I wanted to break her fucking nose by the end of it. Talbot too. I think what really caused me to fucking hate these characters is just the way that their voices give away the part of the British upper class, the finer people, and the way they look down their noses at Nate. This combination of those little things that just gets into my head, gets into my northern head in just the right sort of ways that instigates a knee-jerk "fuck you, you upper-class cunt" reaction. The story of Uncharted 3 starts off in an English pub with Nate and Sully walking in like it's some sort of James Bond film. They're here to meet with a man named Talbot about selling Nate's ring, which is, in and of itself, a tad unusual given how Nate's so attached to the damn thing.
Sully, this is fake.
I assure you, Mr. Drake.
Whoa, you are right. This is phony as a $3 bill. What the hell are you trying to pull here?
Perhaps I should be asking you.
This is bullshit. Deal's off, pal.
And you? You can tell your client. You blew it. Come on, Nate, let's get the hell out of here.
You're not really in a position to negotiate. Now give me the ring, take the case, and walk out of here like gentlemen. While you still can.
Do as the man says, son. You're a thief.
Well now, that's ironic.
The pub brawl is a freaking awesome section of the game, by the way, introducing the melee mechanics in a fluid and pretty cool scene. I especially love how Nate ends up in the urinals thanks to Cutter. And if you've ever seen a urinal in an English pub, you know that shit is nasty. Nate and Sully wind up outside in the gutter as the queen bitch descends on them after taking Nate's ring and leaving the two of them to bleed out from gunshot wounds sustained during the struggle. The game then jumps back 20 years to show a young Nate meeting with Sully for the first time. It also plays out Nate's first meeting with Marlowe and her red-tied bastard underlings. Here, Nate shows that he's always been the history smart aleck.
Okay, look. First of all, that was no astrolabe. It's some sort of decoding device. Check this out. On his way around the world, Drake sailed through the East Indies. Only he says that it took him 6 months to get from here to here.
Yeah, so?
So it doesn't add up. He was way too good a sailor for that. It would have taken him a month, tops. He was hiding something. Something big.
How big?
Like secret mission from the Queen big. Like millions in plundered treasure that hasn't ever been recovered big.
That big?
That big.
And that decoder has something to do with it?
I would bet my life on it.
Oh, swell. And Marlowe's got it.
Won't do her much good without the key.
So it's a stalemate then?
For now.
They wake up back in the present after it's revealed the whole evening was a setup to lure out Marlowe and finish what she and Nate started 20 years ago. They tail their car back to an underground facility where they discover a whole bunch of research notes and journals. And then they spend 10 fucking minutes trying to decode them? Jesus Christ, man, the bad guys have literally just left the room. Why read the notes there? Yes, you can make the very correct argument that there was a clue that Nate needed to find in that room, but he didn't know how much time he would have. He didn't know if he'd find it before the bad guys came back. He literally risked everything just because he didn't get the fuck out of Dodge. The three guys end up driving away with Chloe, and they start doing their research properly in Nate's fancy as fuck house. Seriously, how does this guy have so much money? They clearly established in the last game that he was fucking broke and didn't get anything from Visit Shambhala. He blew it the fuck up, remember? After that, he's gone through a wedding and a separation in 2 fucking years. I do not understand how he can have enough money to rent a fucking caravan, let alone own this fancy fucking house.
You see this, Mark? This is John Dee's signature.
John Dee, one of Queen Elizabeth's closest advisors. Everybody knows that. Seriously into the occult. I mean, like a really creepy dark
Yeah, see,
way.
he signed all his letters to the Queen with this symbol, meaning he was her eyes.
The original 007, you see, look, 007.
Not really that relevant.
So it was John Dee who sent Drake to Arabia.
Yeah, it looks that way. Dee and Elizabeth.
And Walsingham.
Great, but what for?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And this is where T.E. Lawrence comes in. See, before Lawrence became Lawrence of Arabia,
Great film.
he was an archaeologist. And even when he was just a kid, he was obsessed with history, everything to do with knights and the Crusades. And he traveled all over, documenting every Crusader site he could find. It's all in here.
All right, you've lost me completely, kid. What the hell has this got to do with Drake?
I'm getting to that. See, after the war, Lawrence said that if he were ever to go back to Arabia, it would be to search for this place he called the Atlantis of the Sands. Now, the legend crops up over and over again under different names. Ubar, Aram of the Pillars, the City of Brass. But the story is always the same.
Well, city of immeasurable wealth, destroyed by God for its arrogance, swallowed forever in the sands of the Rub al Khali Desert.
Right here.
Well, I like the immeasurable wealth part anyway.
And you think this is what Elizabeth and Dee sent Drake after?
Oh, yeah. And more importantly, it's what Marlowe is after.
So, wait, if Drake was on a mission from the Queen to find this place, why all the secrecy? I mean, it looks like he went to a lot of trouble to hide whatever he found, even from Her Majesty.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was that?
No, hang on a second, because if you recall the last time we went halfway around the world searching for a lost city, things got more than a little dicey.
Yeah, but this time we have the upper hand. I mean, look, Drake only had half the clues. Lawrence only had half. We have both. And Marlowe has nothing.
Small problem. The Rub al Khali Desert, 600 miles across. The Bedouin go around the damn thing.
And even if we knew where it was, which we don't, we would die trying to find
Just
it.
hold on. You see these symbols here?
Yeah? Looks like Sabaean
Sabaean
script.
script. Right. Look, the Crusaders were searching for the same lost city 1,000 years ago. But out of all the sites Lawrence documented, only 2 are marked with these symbols. One in Syria, the other in France.
So Sully and Nate end up going to France, and Cutter and Chloe to Syria. Nate and Sully end up discovering an ancient tomb of a Crusader knight, and with it, half of an amulet that reveals the location of the magic city that they're fucking after, I suppose. However, Talbot has somehow managed to track them down and manages to steal the amulet from Nate and Sully. Him and his goons set fire to the castle around them, but they manage to escape just as it collapses. Realizing that Chloe and Cutter might be in danger, Nate and Sully head out to Syria, arriving just in time to see Talbot and his crew get there, but somehow not before Cutter and Chloe can find the entrance to the second Crusader crypt, which is confusing because Cutter has proven himself to be, like I said earlier, some kind of British Nathan Drake. It just doesn't make sense, you know? This man, Cutter, he has been proven to be some kind of British Nathan Drake. He has beaten Nate to some of the punches on these history facts. He knows his stuff. He knows his Anne Franks for his Anne Boleyns, alright? Why has he not figured out these puzzles, alright? In the time that they have all collectively left England, and the time it has taken Sully and Nate to leave France to Syria, Cutter hasn't figured out these puzzles. What the fuck? Whatever. As they're working out this one particular puzzle, Talbot ends up shooting Cutter with what appears to be some kind of LSD mixed with a hypnotizing drug that forces him to hand over his journal and his gun. This causes Cutter to freak the fuck out for a while and ends up almost killing Nate. They do quickly get to the next half of the amulet and realise that there's another clue hidden in Yemen. However, in escaping, Cutter ends up breaking his leg, and so him and Chloe end up going back home, leaving Nate and Sully stranded and in need of help to get them into Yemen. Who do they fucking turn to? I've already gone off on one about it, why don't you have a fucking guess? Elena, of fucking course. I've ranted about this already, so I'm not going to say it anymore. Nate ends up getting hit by the same hallucinogen as Cutter and ends up stranded on a pirate ship a few days later. This whole pirate section of the game, yeah, it's completely and utterly pointless, by the way. While the pirate segment is cool, and Jesus Christ, does it look beautiful, all that waves, all that water, all that wishy-washy physics shit, it literally adds nothing to the plot. Nate thinks that the pirates have Sully. In the end, it turns out they don't. Marlowe has him, and has had him the entire time. So, Nate ends up sinking a ship and washes up ashore. What the hell did that add? It added nothing, okay? Nothing was added in that entire section. It was just a waste of fucking time. Our time, Nate's time, the pirate's time. The only person who didn't waste any time was fucking Marlowe, okay? The villain didn't waste time. This was just fucking shameless padding. This is the first time, guys, that Naughty Dog have ever padded out an Uncharted game. I mean, it's cinematic as fuck. It looks amazing. But it adds nothing to the story, okay? It's just pointless. Elena helps Nate get onto a plane that's going to airdrop supplies to Marlowe's team so he can help rescue Sully. It does have a genuinely touching moment between the two of them before the plane takes off. It's quickly shunted out of your mind, however, when Nate falls out of a goddamn plane and lands in the middle of a desert. After wandering around the desert for a few days, he comes across a tribe of, I don't know, desert wanderers? The real-life equivalent of Khajiit? I don't know, they're just here to explain the evil artifact that the villain is after.
3,000 years ago, King Solomon commanded the power of the Jinn. Demons, born of smokeless fire, until they rebelled. He imprisoned them in a vessel of brass and cast it into the depths of the city. Iran became a place of evil, cursed by the tormented spirits of the Jinn. The English must not reach the city. If they unleash the power of the Jinn...
We don't have much time, do we?
No.
That took way too long, game, okay? It took way too long for you to get to that point. I mean, we knew they were going to get to a lost or forgotten city or somewhere. But you haven't mentioned anything about any sort of mystical artifact. The fact that it's a genie in a bottle, though, is fucking awesome, though. Gotta give you props for that. Nate ends up rescuing Sully from Marlowe's convoy, and the two stumble onto the lost city in the middle of a sandstorm. After drinking from a fountain, though, Nate ends up tripping the fuck out yet again and hallucinates Sully getting shot. He goes on a drug trip that most potheads wish they could be high enough to enjoy, and stumbles across Marlowe's team trying to lift a genie lamp out of the bloody cistern or something. And yeah, I suppose that's pretty much it for the climax of the game, I guess, because nothing really ultra big happens after this point. Again, Nate ends up blowing the city with some sort of flare gun, I guess. Marlowe ends up falling into a sinkhole and takes Nate's ring with her, and Nate shoots the slimy prick Talbot in the gut. At the airport, Nate and Sully have a heart-to-heart before Elena shows up again.
Hey.
Hey. Going somewhere?
Maybe. I'm really sorry about your ring.
Yeah. It's alright. I swapped it for something better.
I don't mean to laugh. That was a romantic moment there, not gonna lie. But as soon as Nate said that, this just popped into my head for no reason.
That's okay, I've got a bigger crown.
Just ruined the end of Uncharted 3 for you guys. Fuck you, my work is done. I mean, I didn't plan on it honestly, but I don't think I could ruin Uncharted 3. It felt more impressive, more tense, more badass, and just had a greater overall weight to it than any other game before it. Yes, Uncharted 2 was the first to push these limits, and you could not argue that Uncharted 3 didn't really do much to expand on them. But Uncharted 3 simply worked with the incredible standards left behind by Uncharted 2, and experimented with the types of location they used for the game, and made them all stunning and beautiful. The combat gets really fucking difficult too, somehow making this game feel like the end all, with a villain you just wanted to thwart just because you wanted to wipe that smirk off her face. A dig into Nate's past and his relationships with characters new and old, it just made this game a huge blast to play. I know it's not the end of the Uncharted games, but I can honestly say A Thief's End has its work cut out for it. At the end of the day, guys, I simply enjoyed Drake's Deception more than any other in the Uncharted series. Now, was the game a little padded? Yeah, unfortunately it was. Does the Nate and Elena romance subplot add unnecessary drag? Yes, even on its own it would have added unnecessary drag, but with the way they developed the relationship between Nate and Sully and how much time they had dedicated to the history between those two characters, this just added unnecessary bloody fucking weight. It wasn't needed and it wasn't fucking wanted. And yes, I did get a little frustrated playing this game. There were a few sections that refused to cooperate with me, but aside from all that, Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, gets a dark rating of 81.
That's okay, I've got a bigger crown.
Well, ready to close out Double Dip December. Thanks for your time, Nate. Now then, Souls. Not exactly holding out a lot of hope for you, but I've been Darkest101. You've been watching Darkest101 reviews on Double Dip December. I'll be back in a little bit. Good night, YouTube.